we have solar wall lamp. With marvelous cheap Chinese engineering and grammatical mistakes, you can now own solar wall lamp around $10. In this solar wall lamp, in the front of the retail package says separate solar wall lamp. Top of the package says split solar lamp. And the product description under the name says split solar induction lamp. You can identify some common cheap Chinese innovations by common characteristics, such as poorly graphic designed product retail packages, or maybe it doesn't have any brand informations, or manufactured country, or maybe manufacturer's address, sometimes grammatical errors on retail product box, or maybe user manual. In worst cases, you can see spelling mistakes on everywhere. But with these mistakes, we can't judge the functionality of the overall product.
What are you doing?
Test the functionality, and for the overall product safety and covering all standards, we have to deep review product and testing. For now, I'm going to test this cheap $10+ solar wall lamp with basics testing without any sophisticated requirements, as any ordinary user can perform this test. Then after turn to the most important part of this retail box, that is the product specifications. In this retail box said product parameters. So then I have a question about product parameters, specifications, and then what is a more suitable word for this description? That is a description or product specifications. And the parameters mean a kind of something, I think that is a measurable thing. Then the specifications, they have details about the technical informations and the capacities, and then many important critical things. In the product description, I think that is just a features wise. Then most important thing is the name. They title under the product parameters as they told. This description box is highlighting as a separate name. That is a third name after the top of the in front. Actually, it's in front of the box as a separate solar wall lamp, and then the top of the box said split solar lamp. That is a third name in the name section. That said split solar induction lamp. Then we have some critical information here. What is an induction lamp? So induction lamps is completely irrelevant things to this type of LED lighting. So induction lamps are some generated high frequency generation, and then this provide to a ferrite core based coil, and then we have some mercury vapor or some internal and plus some gases. That is definitely doesn't have any sort of electrodes or any direct contacts. These are generated high frequency, and then their rings base lights, some kind of that is a very complicated topic, and you can, if you're interested in learn more about, you can find many decent resources. Induction lamps are different technology, so I don't think it's any related to any type of LEDs. Then they have said brightness in 260 capital LM. That is a kind of sort of questionable, and then in short as possible, we can roughly equal as I might believe, I can roughly equal the lumens to brightness. Then the lumens is usually I ever seen the lumen symbol as a simple LM, not the capital LM. That is some sort of measure of the perceived power of visible light emitted by a light source. Then we target in the visible light range as a human visible range. Then the lumen is the unit of luminance flux. As I told before, that is a measure of the perceived power of visible light emitted by a source. So then we can equivalent the brightness to the lumens. So however, I still believe that we have to measure the visible light range from any light source. Then however, most complicated parts then got into this says lumens in 260. I don't know how they get the 260 value. Then there is in the LED watts, we can categorize so 250 to 400 range lumens in this chart. In LED watts is between 2 to 4 watts. In this case, I hope that would be 260 is some sort of close to 2 point and some X amount of watts exactly maybe. Then we have core. I don't know what those mean, the core, C-O-R-E, and then we have top of the E small circle. Then said in all caps, said COB/LED. Then the COB LED means, then I think I will pretty assume as previously showed in front of the box, COB must be a the chip on board. Then the function is much interesting and funniest part. They said when people, then the quotation start, quote, when people come, they turn on and turn off the lights 30 seconds after they leave. So then quote end. So according to this, I think this is a motion sense. According to the beginning of this sentence, as when people come, this doesn't matter people or animal, and then any person or animal, but when someone's enter the field of view of the PRI sensor, that is a detect the change in infrared radiation. That is can the change track the change in this type of passive infrared sensors known as PRI sensors. That is actually the sensitive to infrared rays entered by human and the animal bodies. That is basically when the animal or human motion detects, then the light remain on turn on for 30 seconds until they leave. That is such impact by change in infrared radiation. So then according to this, say that is manufactured using ABS plastics. Just said ABS. So I assume that is the most closest thing is ABS plastics. On the finding and basic research on the internet, we can find some good and bad properties of the ABS plastics. As overall, it's suitable and durable for some components, and then the strength and the stiffness and some many some chemical resistant properties and electrical insulation properties, and then some bad things such as poor weather resistance. So as like from the many sources, is degrade when exposed to the sunlight and UV radiation. That have some outdoor use limitations, but that is have great surface finish with this type of plastics. I don't know this is how could be resist to the strong sunlight and then the UV radiation from the sunlight for a long period of time. So that's why I recommend this thing is used with some additional enhanced protections for the long duration of time. So then they mentioned about the battery. So they have built-in battery. Then you can see as instantly you can see that flip the light panel to back side of that. You can see some bubble middle in the casing, and that is definitely 18650 battery. I assume before they opened this device. They are good. Thanks for them for mentioning actual capacity in here. So that is saying 1200 milli. This just say the milliamp. That should be a capacity measurement. The milliampere hour lithium battery. They just mention means milliamperes. So then that is 1.2 amps. Definitely that battery is 1.2 amps. So that is not much enough for powering this light for overall night time, as assume as 12 hours around. Then they have said link. What is the link? That is they say some maybe might have split devices as a two pieces. Then that is should be as a link. I think that is a mention. That should be mentioned as a cable length. This is power cord length. That is as mentioned 5 meters. So I measured that is in foot. I have 50. That is roughly 4.72 meters. I don't know about this. I have 15 feet. They have 15 feet in total. Then they mention about 360 degree adjustable. There's a bowl in the middle adjustment. Front of the boxes start with this complicated sentence after the title. Just said large area luminescence. Then the luminescence is lead to much more complicated term. Then they have some few types of luminescence, then such as much more complicated things, that is lead some electroluminescence and radioluminescence, bioluminescence, such many things. That is such as emitting perspective. They might be include this. They simply trying to say like is covering large area of the light, and then some additional much more complicated thing they must be looked at from this word. That is not any resulting by any heat and or maybe any heat radiation that is result from the LED lighting. Then so they have some. Next we can see some number. Special number might be equivalent to a model number, such as they said SL-F120. So I don't know that is a model number. It must be the closest thing is a model number. Then they have said especially red color highlighted. When the red and blue colors getting some sort of opposite colors, then those are getting very contrast different in the manners. In such this case, the red color is much more attention. So what is they trying to say as all caps C COP. In the most cases, this should be the trying to mention chip on board. That should be C capital and the O is simple and B is capital. Then they write to mention that is some additional benefits such as this photograph of the product perfectly you can see the chip on board, but is not the same type of the chip as my product. That is must be some different model numbers. Another side is they have some one single large chip light and the chip on board has some advantages as LEDs. So however in this case we can at the first look at we can tell that chip on board is impact on the better thermal management because that can easily reduce the radiate the LEDs temperature. They have some many more benefit chip on board for LEDs, higher lumen density, improved thermal management, the energy efficiency, some longer lifespan because longer life means because these better thermal management and in the cause of that these LED chips could long lasting. Then I have some concern about this design and design wise this is much more common level of design. I don't know why do they try to keep it as a blue color background. That is a nice very some kind of old looking design. In the modern simple designs you can use some white background and the perfect product photograph of light panel and in the solar panel, or even maybe you can 3D mock up any parts that very impossible to photograph. I mean very hard sometimes but sometimes 3D modeling work better than the traditional photographs. So then if any hard parts to product photography then you can 3D model this, and then the pure white background such as Apple product you can design this thing in the much more clean or maybe gray tone. Later you can mention the colors of that is in the designing wise that is some much more valuable thing, but in the actual color is turned into gray tone that is much more premium because just putting this thing on the super white contrast or some kind of gray mixed white background, gray designing and might be a designing not just actual photograph or 3D design perfectly balanced. Then you can symmetrically because these are two devices almost equally in size in the place it, and the wire code is useless to photograph because then you can draw the wire code in a semi 3D looking design. Then we have some important symbols. Those are like I mentioned as the features in this case. So then first we can see some wireless signal, wireless symbol, and then the wireless symbol is some kind of is that suitable for this because this doesn't have this wall lamp doesn't have any remote controlling or maybe Wi-Fi or maybe any other type of IoT solution or any type of thing. So this wireless connectivity symbol is symbolized some question they're trying to symbolize the motion sensor or something. Then we have solar symbol that is a very basic symbol mostly many years ago this type of solar symbols and the old type of symbols. Then the solar symbol you can say that is a very some kind of illustration not just a symbol. Then that is true because then solar symbol is relevant for this because this is charged by solar. So then they have battery symbol, they have included the battery. You can simplify the battery symbol this kind of go away from this kind of symbols to some modern clean design. Then they have some kind of waterproof symbol. This is this umbrella symbol is at first looking I don't feel the waterproof symbol. You can use a water drop, and if you mention the waterproof you have to care about the IP ratings because without saying IP ratings you could prove your device is waterproof. Then the background is I don't know why there is some clear picture in the blue tint because they have some oceanic picture, and then the whole product is continue not that picture same tint turned to solid hue color. So this is not just a designing critique, that is an electronic review inside of this product. Then we have some other side of this package that says applicable scenario. I don't feel that is as this product some suggestions for use this product. This is actually can for anywhere you can easily access the solar panel there's given core distance. If you're planning to increase the solar panel cable that is need to consider about the energy loss because this as my testing open circuit voltage of this solar panel is getting maximum 6 volt. It's definitely volt drop even sometimes below than the 6 volts, and then when connected to the charging that is a drop definitely is getting drop. So that is pretty normal. Then you must have easy access to the solar panel. Then they have some recycling symbols and much much more important symbol. CE symbol is very common. You must be seen everywhere. Most every electronics, even you couldn't assume that have CE symbol. That is a certification, European Union certification. That is a safety, health and environmental protection requirements. That is CE stand for some kind of non-English word, such as I try to pronounce this at my best. This is the word very hard to pronounce. I think that is a conformite European or something in French or something. Then we have some useless recycling symbols. But you know about this device is qualified as European certification. Then we have first symbol from the left side. From the left we have the green recycling dot. That is this label is fairly meaningless and has no bearing on whether it is a package can be recycled or not. But this is means that the producer has made a financial contributions towards the recovery and recycling of packaging. So then is that is any meaning? Not simply not. Then we have C, and then at the third then we have Mobius loop. That's called as then that is some kind of questionable even waste management standards. When we have trash can symbol, that is absolutely true because electronic means e-waste. You never ever do any non-categorized trash cans. You have to specially drop the e-waste to some recycling procedure because this is especially how lithium-ion batteries. So that is just drop to the trash can as a normal categorization as plastic and then the organic waste or something. So how do you classify this bunch of electronics? And then the solar panels, those have different electronics. Then you have to categorize about the plastic parts. Then the lithium-ion batteries. That is some kind of joke in this case. Then the entire light lamp is supposed to work as one single switch for power turn on and off and function selection. Then they have three separate functions for the lamp. So then have the first turn on for full beam, and then that is once you click on that is turned into the some automatic IR function. Then that's how dim function. Automatic functions always depend on your solar panels power inputs because that is not supposed to turn on the any lighting conditions, including not just sunlight, including any artificial lights, because the solar panels are sensitive to lights. Then the solar panel is supposed to be a polycrystalline solar panel as any kind of some cheap devices, but this is as usually covered with ABS plastics. Then in the back side you can see a bunch of some metal nails. Those screw nails supposed to be very open to the environment. So then you have to completely apply some silicone on top of because those could be corrosive when you are living in around coastal areas. So then you have the mounter is kindly ball base mounter that is a 360 degree rotatable, but if you're not much heavily used, because if you heavily use this kind of loose or might be not stable, but the solar panel needs some kind of protection because better to keep under some glass surface or something, because if the plastic is getting cracked you have need the protection. Then the wire output doesn't seem like any water resistance barrier or any type of gas cards for protection water resistance. So then the wire quality is also normal quality within the not very pretty extremely hard quality, but is just suitable for with any additional protection. The jack is DC 5.5mm by 2.1mm jack. That is a much more common jack in DC circuits, but also that is possible for AC, not limited to DC currents. That is much more common. The size is you can see the size that is a little bit than the 4-inch. Just the entire lighting device is supposed to work like their protective cover like same as the solar panel. So then you have a bubble with the white bubble that is infrared sensor. Then the switch, some internal and external connection parts including switches have to better cover with some weather conditions. This also have missing number of lights. This also have missing number of screws. And then you have to cover them as before the installation. So they have some socket part of the lights because that is the power receiving socket. Then I have the testing part which I'm placed the very low sunlight is delivering 6 volt at open circuit voltage, because today we have very low sunlight without any color grading. That is a very low sunlight. Even that sunlight in which delivers 6 volt, but is dependent on after plug-in, you can get different results, because that is no longer open circuit voltage, that is under the load, because the battery is getting charged. After the repair, I check usually as my voltage. Then we have some mixed footages in the first day opening and second day opening with the charging test, because the charging test is much more important. So then the first footage you can see the second day, then they first after the unscrew the nails. Then you can see the front glass cover. That is not actually glass, that is some kind of normal average artificial, some kind of perspective surface. I don't know, it's a plastic surface. Then I had to unscrew the LED reflector panel, because the reflector panels and then the LED sandwich between the main back cover and the reflector panel. Reflector panel is supposed to have 3 screw nails in different size Phillips screws. But they have only include 2 screws. That is not much enough. That is really enough. Then we can see the chip on board LED chips. They have 4 separate same size chips. I don't going to assume the size.
Soldier.
You can see some silicon head single click button. Entire circuitry is some soldering joints. With the most cases, then the wires can lose over time with some corrosions like oxidization. Yes, some cheap products can easily replace some wire connectors for rather than just cheap circuit wires. You can also see some good quality circuit wires in some battery packs, small battery packs. Even you can see optimal gauge wires and then the connectors like this. Also these wires and then can be any kind of a loosened joint, can hit with other parts. That's kind of risk, because lithium battery is energized. But this is a nicely separated some positive and negative terminals all over the circuit. I wish to talk about then the wiring, not the entire schematic diagram, but it's just basic wiring diagram and how the contact with this mysterious chip all-in-one chip. So then we can see the clearly then the chip on board LEDs are great thermal balancing, because they have some aluminum look plate and the thermal release, then the heat release to the pretty close to the battery, then the battery and then the LED panel are just separate by some normal just tape. But it's not, the tape is not in just any risk, because those are not much extremely high temperature. Then however battery is connected in some kind of weird way, because they soldered then the wires to the battery, because usually you don't solder then the lithium ion batteries, especially these type of 18650 batteries. So because of these batteries don't like to expose to temperature, but these small wires can easily instantly pick a torch to the battery. That is called course be very low duration of time to exposed to these extreme temperatures, but is not recommended generally. But even we can replace a decent battery box, but there doesn't have any space to place a battery box. There are no room for additional installations rather than just the manufacturers, because manufacturers are kind of trying to save the space and the designing by tiny space to the battery. Then you can see the chip. It's a mysterious chip that is known for the BMS part and the functionality of the light. You can see the more about later about how this chip and then the entire system works. Back I can see some few transistors and the IR sensors directly soldered to the boards. This board doesn't have any double side SMD or any sort of electronic components, but this board double side connections, double side traces. And one other good thing is the traces is almost covered with any protective some applied thing, because that is not conductive. Soldering joints are only the conductive parts of this board. Chip on board LEDs are kind of sticky chips.
Sticky, icky. Away.
I'm going to unscrew the main board. In this main board now secured with two nails, two screw nails, and but the main thing is without holding nail is not using a tweezer is kind of risky if any nail fall onto any contacts, especially in the chip contact. That could be short circuit, because always mind this is always energized battery. Even the battery this load is even low, you have to strictly care about any short circuit. Then the battery and the BMS, we have to deal with the BMS. I hope the BMS is short circuit protection and the over voltage protection, over discharge protection, overcharge protections, and then the overload protections if you have multiple cells in the cell balancing. And then the critical circuitries, you have to monitor the battery temperatures. I'll leave many footages as much possible for you. That is some typical board with some sort of DIY soldering, because the Chinese products doesn't want to invest a lot of time on the installation, because they need to save the time and produce much more units. Otherwise, you can decently replace some connectors and some little bit expensive looking components, but these Chinese chips need to produce much as possible, because they have the time worth. Because if you manufacturing those in the extremely high quantity level, you don't need to worry about the piece price. So then this extremely low in this case. That's mysterious chip. I try to look at everything every angle possible, as much possible, without desoldering any covering components such as IR sensor. That mysterious chip doesn't include any numbers or indications, even doesn't have in main board. That is pretty simple circuitry, but you have to take care about its mysterious chips, because you're very hard to almost know to in the failures you have to hard to replace. This 8-pin mysterious chip, if you need to replace this chip, might be common in other solar lamps, so you can replace from other board blindly, because I don't know because different chips used or not.
take hold. A beat that ecstasy of hope. A rhythm started to take hold. A beat that ecstasy of hope. A rhythm started to take hold. A beat that say light. Say light. Yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the woods. Felt the pain, witnessed the sorrow in every gaze. But through the crowd, felt the pain, witnessed the sorrow in every gaze. But through the crowd, yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the echo through the streets, a story waiting to unfold. Echo is the shining brighter than the city lights. Is the shining brighter than the city lights. But through the crowd, is the shining brighter than the city lights. But through the crowd, is the shining brighter than the city lights. But through the crowd, is the shining pain, witness the sorrow in every gaze. But through the crowd, felt the pain, witness the sorrow in every gaze. But through the crowd. Yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in the concrete jungle where I go through the streets, a story waiting to unfold. I go through the streets, a story waiting to unfold. The city lights. Shining brighter than 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 the city lights. Shining.
Then again back to the test the open circuit voltage of the solar panel. Now it's dropped to maximum of 5.82. 77 is some average, even drop to the 4.x amount of decimals. Now I suppose to plug this into the lamp. Then the lamp is automatically on the charging position. There are nothing any manual switch. There are only one and only switch is that clicking switch. Now I am going to the test that there is a closed circuit voltage while charging. That is showing me around 4 volts. I can get average 4.80. 18 means in the 18 inputs input voltage, that is a maximum voltage of 4.2 for charging single this type of lithium-ion battery. Then the camera view is much closer and closer. Then the battery is at 3.27 volts when the charging, which means battery is drained before the previous day. That is no surprise, and the LED panel is always energized. Again, I'm checking some open circuit voltage without connected to the anywhere. Then the 5.79 is some kind of close to my previous rating. I don't know there any. Now the sun is a little bit high, but it's not reached to 6 at all. Then the connected voltage 4.19. Then the panel when not working, there's a maximum peak of 2.x amount of voltage, and sometimes it's dropped to around 1. This panel is energized because that is directly connected with the battery is positive, but there's a switching in the negative. More about later the basic diagram. Usually I don't want to expose the entire diagram because there's nothing any harmful or dangerous thing. As much as I see the battery voltage is supposed to increase, take much more time. Then the disconnected battery voltage almost same as the charging or 1 volt drop. One thing is accuracy of some this type of cheap multimeters can be changed, but it's not any critical level. Now its voltage is high, then I'm trying to check, but seems like no. Then again we have some pretty close to the 6 volts in the open circuit voltage, and then the while that voltage is, I can see the charging and charging input at maximum 4.2, just a little bit exceeded. Safe to say they are nothing exceed the 4.2, but it's come question about constant current and constant volt charging is in if they are existed or not, but there are nothing any critical safety issues, even one single battery. Panel voltage seems different time to time, even plug or not. If when the plug the solar panel is panel voltage is getting increased and nothing no matter, or rather than the resistive load from the LEDs, but that is some pushing into the drain the battery. There I can see the panel supplying and the panel negative voltage is getting 2.8 around. It's a kind of peak. Pretty close to the some round of some critical voltage level. I don't know why that doesn't extractly shut down, because of any type of resistive load that can be impact on draining or poor charging capabilities. My multimeter says now just enough, then the shutdown in beep tone I heard, and sometimes I check the some voltage drop in these wires. There are nothing any significant drop. Continuous some useless charging patterns and continue disconnecting and connecting. There's some kind of battery voltage drop or not. I'm pretty hard to understand. The only reason is if not charged for days, this thing could be easily discharged. In name of the topics passive infrared sensors, also known as PRS sensors, we have single passive infrared sensor standalone or the module. In most open markets like eBay and AliExpress platforms, you can find passive infrared sensor modules. As a module, you can directly connect to your circuit and start switching using a normal NPN transistor. So then the passive infrared sensors, those sensors are detecting infrared radiation emitted by objects within their field of view. They are commonly used in motion sensors related anything in such as security and lighting controls. In the topic of infrared radiation and the heat, all objects with a temperature above absolute zero emit infrared radiation. The amount of IR radiation emitted increases with the object's temperature. So human bodies emit infrared radiation at a wavelength of about 10 micrometers due to the body heat. Then the temperature above the absolute zero refers to any temperature higher than 0 Kelvin, which is negative 273 and 15 degrees of Celsius, or negative 549 and 62 degrees in Fahrenheit. So higher than the 0 Kelvin. So we have then the sensing. Then we have pyrolytic sensor, the core component of PRI sensor, the pyrolytic sensor. This sensor material generates a small electrical charge when exposed to varying level of infrared radiation. So that's why that's need some further applications. Inside of this whole sensor component, we can find standalone sensors contain JFT transistors, those called junction field effect transistors. So directly, if you're planning to control this type of sensor, you need some chips like BIS 0001 chip, because that is again very complicated without direct sensor purchasing a direct sensor module. So if you're planning to just a sensor only, also sensor have some 3 pins. They have powering positive and negative pins that is supposed to 5-6 volts. Then the output sensor to BISS chip. So then we have BISS 0001 chip. So then it's connected to this like this diagram. That is much more complicated. This diagram is according to this diagram that requires many components, voltage regulation and the sensing triggering. You can now directly control this sensing using an NPN transistor and might be a relay. That relay can control different voltages other than your main controlling voltage. Otherwise, you can use some couple of transistors, so any transistor pair, and control your same voltage load. The pyrolytic materials can detect changes in radiation, IR radiation level, which occurs when the warm objects such as human moves within the sensor's field of view. The PRI sensors use special lens called Fresnel lens to focus the infrared radiation onto the pyrolytic sensor. The lens is designed to divide the detection area into multiple zones. As a person moves across these zones, the amount of IR radiation hitting the pyrolytic sensor changes, causing a detectable variation in sensor's electrical output. That is a much more simple and complicated than both. The working theory is kind of simple and hard at the same time. If you're planning to direct the sensor without a module, that is the complicated thing. If you purchase, as I previously told, whole module, that is less complicated. You can directly, it's also have a 3-pin situation, because you can control power up and two power pins and the output. For the detection zones, the Fresnel lens create multiple detection zones. As an object moves from one zone to another, the IR radiation detected by the sensor fluctuates. The fluctuation results in a change in the electric signal generated by the pyrolytic material. These signal outputs are actually very small, and then they need to require amplifications. So then the amplifications as usually as our BIS 0001 IC. That is a kind of very new IC to me. Using that circuit or as additional circuits, very simple circuits for the module, as this circuitspedia.com circuit diagram. We have very basic simple circuit diagram how to connect your PRI motion sensor module. This is connecting the PRI motion sensor module. So you have to purchase some PRI motion sensor from eBay or different cheap sources. That is not much make huge disadvantage. So getting to the PRI PRI motion sensor, they have 3 pins you have to connect your circuit. The whole motion sensor, as I previously told, you have to identify those signals using a transistor. So motion sensor, inside the motion sensor chip, in most cases we have can see 8-pin chip with the motion sensor. That would be much more controlling of the motion sensor because we don't want any some advanced usages. How this model works, that much not be related to this topic, that is much more advanced, so later. So then according to this wiring diagram, this side says this sensor need around, I think I didn't check any data sheet for PRI motion sensors. This motion sensor is work around 5 volts, so that is some kind of great voltage for any common purposes. So this is a regulated 5 volts supply we have. According to this diagram, they use LM7805 linear regulator IC because their voltage source is 9 volt, so they want to get a 5 volt stable voltage. According to data sheets of the LM7805 IC, that is rated for 1 amps. This is very much common IC in some low ampere and low voltage regulations, but this is generating a very amount of heat. So that is a very simple design. You can easily regulate some main common voltages using this LM78 series, sometimes 5 volts, 6.2 and 8.2, 9 volts and 12 volts, 15 volts, many range of voltages. So then according to this size data sheets for 5 volt series, you can easily figure out this series of regulator ICs. Just a 3-pin ICs like a transistor. This I think it's a 220 chip model. I don't never seen any SMD model, but could be possible, I don't know about. Then the 5 volt is, I think this is a maximum rating is 18 volts around. However, you have plenty of time gap to power up this using any 12 volt power source. But the question is, this ICs they are used this IC for the only for this PRI motion sensor. So then the motion sensor have V plus and ground connection. They have output signals, so you can amplify uses common NPN transistor. Then what is you powering up a relay? So in this case you have some very sort of basic diagram for load for 230 volt or any other different voltage range than you provided to this circuit. So according to this circuit, you have relay and this diode for flyback current protection. This is a coil. You know that you have using a relay, you have coil. Then this case, according to this diagram, then the sensing out from the PRI sensor, this transistor is start to conducting. Then the relay is turned on. Your AC or different voltage range can switch on or off according to your relay switch maximum voltage ratings and current ratings. So that is a very simple as powering up this modules, PRI sensor modules. But sensor modules working principles, and then the PRI sensor infrared sensors working principle is way more too complicated to understand with this simple stupid Chinese LED wall lamp. But this lamp is pretty interesting. So here is the basic functionality of our solar LED wall lamp. Then we have the 18650 battery that is should be charged at 4.2 DC volts, and then the maximum charging C rate is 1C charging because that's a max charge. And here we have DC 5.5 millimeter by 2.1 jack. In here we can see the another is I couldn't write the entire diagram because I plan to write the entire diagram because I have these older parts, and then I have to carefully write the entire diagram. So then we have DC jack that has S minus means supply minus. then the S positive is supply positive. Many times we easily confuse with the S with the switch. At the first glance, I was confused with the S, what does the S meaning, and then realized that it is supply positive and supply negative. If you have more space to print on the PCB, you can say it for switch SW in capital. So here is the mysterious Chinese chip with the 8-pin chip, and I think that is only 4-pin or something else. Then we have, this is a very basic diagram. You can see where is the switching the light, then the where is the subject to the battery management system. So here we can see B plus mean the battery plus, that's comes straight from the battery, and the L plus mean for the light plus, because light panel plus. You can see one special thing in here. B plus and L plus C is connected together because there are nothing any switching from this battery, because this battery is directly supplied for the B plus point, the battery positive to B plus. So then the light plus is directly energized from the battery. So then you confuse about how the battery monitoring, about the battery management, all discharge protection and all charge protection. So that's why the S plus means supply plus. I think hope that is a transistor, straight to the transistor and then come from a resistor. I don't know what is the meaning of the add resistor. So then the resistor is connected to the mysterious Chinese chip. That mysterious Chinese chip have also light negative. So that is a straight connection as I can see, because I don't dissolve that circuit, because IR sensor is there. IR sensor covering part of the board. There are no double side connection, double side component, but connections are so thin. We have transistor, resistor, and the chip. Also many components. I can see there are few transistors. Then the positive terminals come to the B plus and the L plus goes light. So then the chip also knows battery, so battery line, because there are nothing in supply line directly to the battery, because the battery is very empty, because you can easily cut off the battery by using the battery management system. Hope this mysterious chip function in many things. According to my stupid idea, this is just connected the negative of the light panel to this chip. This is definitely that is switching the lighting from this chip, and then I hope that is a light is switching. Definitely light is switching from the negative, because the light is always energized if you connect the multimeter as I have shown to L plus or battery, directly to battery, and then you can see to this light negative, you can few volts, sometimes up to 2 volts energize the light even it's shut down. That is why we have another our draining function mentioned here. So there is not for any reason. Then they have supply negative also that trace directly to the battery. That's not much for your supply voltage is correct, and then the correct polarize. Then there is not mismatching mass plus and minus. But even this plus, this is plus is straight for the transistor. But even there is a misfire doing something, that's a getting crazy, because that is straight for chip. I did not see any diodes or any other shown chrome polarity protections. Then the most important critical part in here. So they have then if imagine is chrome polarity goes to the supply negative to somewhere is, and these to the battery. That is very important. That's the polarity. So then the normal DC jack, that's a very common socket and jacks you can find anywhere else. So that then you have supply positive is goes to the somewhere else, use this transistor, and then the chip is a supply negative. All of that is also back to the chip. So battery, how is battery protected from the BMSM? They have monitoring and able to cut off right condition that is going to overcharge. It can be discharged, but these normal things wouldn't see that thing. If you have multiple batteries, all batteries must have equal voltage. We can use some discharge function, but in this case there's nothing need for battery equalization. So this battery is supposed to work as the nominal voltages, and according to specifications, then let's check. Then the B plus it's come from chip. That's a more critical thing is chip is holding light completely. Also also the light is also receiving from battery directly. They have not mentioned any solar power, direct solar power for the light panel, because but this chip can have, if need, I don't know, because I don't know about the occasion, but they have some straight part to the light from the solar panel, but there is nothing any functionality with this. Then the solar panel is saying, if they is have the power, it's also saying, okay, I have the power, don't turn off the light, turn on the light. That is because supposed to work at night. So then there is some, maybe it's a base of the some NPN transistor. That could be a base of NPN transistor. Okay, then then the triggering that thing very easy to not get microcontrollers even inside this mystery chip. So then the light is switching part done by this chip, because the light provided directly from the battery. Even then the battery monitoring this chip can do, because the chip battery and the chip connected. I hope this negative also connected to the chip somewhere. Unfortunately, I couldn't find this negative where it going, because this is a much more critical thing, because this need to be charged the battery, because that is a supply negative. And also this chip need to know about battery status. The chip is need to know, because chip is have positive and also need to have battery negative inside the chip, because then the chip knows, and the lighting switch is also knows. Chip is can be controlled the light. That is pretty awesome in many cases. One is multi-purpose chip have to do many things. If the chip is going failed or entirely short circuited, then the question is begin. The battery is somewhere else directly to the connector to this chip. I don't know this part where it's going. It could be terrible mistake. Even this supply connected chip, there's a chip is getting negative, supply negative. Hope this negative also going to the chip, because also of the battery negative means if you give the overpower to this thing, the battery will be easily energized to this straight path. That is much more crazy. There are nothing, any diodes or anything to protect some from polarizations. So then the low polarity protection or voltage protections. Imagine what maybe something happens to the solar panel. I don't know about the short circuits of solar panel from this to this, but that could happen because we have a lot of external wires. That's the base diagram. So here next I have to leave for the most important journey for hunting previously installed solar wall lamp back in 2 to 4 years ago. So now I have to find the situation about the solar lamps after the first time after the installation. So then the route is not much clear, so turn off bushes with spiky bushes and how to go through those, and then that is a little bit hard area to approach. So the ladder is stuck in everywhere, so that is kind of that is a really kind of interesting result for the after the hunt solar wall lamp. That is a standalone single device that with the examination with this device, yes, you can see the device. With the examination with this device, you can clearly know about how could be the real life test with over years. So that is can be how this device can be faced to the solar, the real sunlight, and then the UV of the sun rays. So the different weather conditions around the year, that is really definitely faced to the different weather conditions around the year. So then I have to climb to the approaching for the solar wall lamp. So then the ladder is equally placed, so you can still find some spiky bushes in the ends. So that is very important to place the ladder securely without and the fall in the and the breaking the wooden walls. That was installed in a small remote hut. So that is very interesting after the 4 years in the first time. So climb through the ladder. So that's the solar wall lamp is single standalone device, as I told. That is and screwed to the wooden bar. So that is screwed with a single nail screw, because there are nothing any multiple screw holes to the mount. That is a gypsum nail, so that's also corroded with some coastal winds. So currently the picture is blurry, but I'm holding the camera and then unscrewing this thing. You can get some close-up pictures of the light panel. So then it's a light panel and you can see the black bubbles. That's a black bubble, and the next to the black bubble you can see white bubbles. So that's a black bubble is the switch. That is a switch same as this solar wall lamps. The switch is subject to turn and on off, and then also there are nothing any much complicated functions. There are nothing any hard to unscrew the nail, because that is simply damaged nail. And you can see some solar panel is some like bubbled, the solar panel like barnacles, like that is, I don't know what is the reasons for cause this damage. You can see some glue patches around the spaces. Those glue patches epoxy glue. You can see the nail is completely break off. Now I'm going to examine that with the carefully leaving this area. That plastic is little bit shaded. That should be a pure black. You can see the one single nail and locking lid for the access the internal compartments of this solar wall lamp. So then now I am ready to leave this area. This is not maintained for years. It's up to 3 to 4 years exactly. Now you can see clearly those damaged barnacle looking solar panel, and then there are the title also look like barnacles. So I don't know there are any chemical reactions, because those are very rough bubbles, so not easily breaking. I don't know if the grinding could be the breaking. I hope that is the same material looking epoxy layer of the solar panel and this title. So then that is not easily break off, and that is could be reason of the itself. That is a greater chance so any chemical reaction. That solar panel virtually do not provide any current. I hope. I do not test that, but this is very semi-transparent, so that is. the many epoxy layers around the switches and any spaces, those are still remaining, but I do not sandwich the epoxy layers between these controllers. So that is some kind of disadvantage. But this before that long period of time, you have to replace at least the battery. So this is the same as the very cheap thing. Now the nail is kind of questionable. Before any damage into the nail, I am ready to apply the. So now I examine the nail, then the sensor bubble was break down. So that plastic is definitely very, very poor in condition. You can see the IR sensor, that is sensor lens is completely remain safe, but then the outside metal parts of the sensor, that is a usually standalone sensor, then the metal parts are it'll be just like green color looking oxidization or something, which means any weather condition passed through this sensor cover. For get the proper removing the nail should be I apply WD-40 for the nail. After the little bit long period of time, I'm trying to I try to unscrew the nail. So then the nail is only the metal parts or part of this covering. So then they have nothing any metal to metal bonding. So that is definitely any kind of, that is not much needed the WD-40. So but then the applying it could be some easy results. You can see that is such as pouring to the somewhere in the hole all around. So this is the nail hole should be like this. So that is some primary level of nail hole from another device. So I do have 3 separate identically similar same kind of lamps. Other lamps are not installed somewhere anywhere else. So then we can see the nail is easily unscrewing. So only corroded the first half of the first quarter of the nail, just like that's exposed to the outer, so external with the condition. So I use small fat screw for this Phillips screw, because the small fat screw with the perfectly holding this Phillips screw, that is could be some good contact, properly seated the screw head. So then I have to remove my epoxy layers. So this is the first time we look inside this device. That is pretty clean and very promising. So the battery is same as the 18650. That is look like a came from. That is just holding and soldered. The soldering wires is not usually recommended, but in the Chinese physics, those are not applied. That is a very small circuitry. So inside a small PCB connected two nails. This tiny wire is supposed to connect everywhere. Usually that is some kind of repairability is very low at this point. If you save the covering and you can replace some additional parts, but usually solar panel must be built for long period lifespan. But in this case, you can see how this rough chemical reaction. I don't know what is that level of chemical reaction happen in a solar panel. Look at the inside the color of the plastics. This could be shade plastic, shady interface surface, and its exterior part is a little bit rough, but is not supposed to this level of shaded. This some. Look at the glossy of the outside. Actually, that is a really glossy, smooth. Now you can imagine what should be do for protecting solar panels. So then I have to check the battery voltage at least. So battery voltage is under 1 volt. There I have 0.9 means 0.80. 12 points away. That is I checked another device because that's also drain the battery, because if not charge those charging after installation, those charging is only from the sunlight. So look at then the difference between the perfect one and this little bit shady looking thing. That is a really when the shaded and or anything you name it for not the perfect looking of plastic. I'm trying to scratch the lens. That is pretty hard lens surface. Look at that's a little bit oily, so that's a perfect solar panel, and that is, those solar panels usually don't generate much higher current, but the mysterious Chinese chips make some boost converting also inside. I don't know how they come back to such of electronics, because you compress these whole technologies, you chance to lose the chips, because in the unit level of look at the smooth surface of the perfect light. That's very smooth, and that is a little bit those plastics sound like a little bit cheapy. It's really cheap looking plastics. Actually, they mentioned in the product packages like waterproof things. As usually, waterproof things, you need some proof the waterproof ability. So water resistance need series of checking, testings and practices. This is modified with the battery box. That's a amazing glue. That's just glue dot insulation, not a sandwich any thick layer of any type of silicon material. That is a pretty easy to rip off. So then finally, what the test are, I not perform test in this case. So not perform test in this case, main important thing is the battery. So then the battery testing, you can do a battery drain testing for this in such cases. But in this case, I do trust about the retail box 1200 milliamps hour because I've trusted this battery for few reasons. So then sometimes and the 18650 batteries do mention about somewhere around the 4000 milliamps hours, such crazy as high, because of almost many cases such amount of power do not exist in the cheap batteries. So in this case, according to the battery weight and some around and the basic trust of this product design, so actually I can trust this product up to few levels. So in the trust of this device is supposed to work alone for many hours, not just like your 18650 torch that is supposed to work for many hours. So then I do trust this battery as 1200 milliampere hours. So that is my trust about this function of this battery, even that is not properly mentioned the capacity. I can trust about 1200 milliampere hours. Some worst cases those batteries have capacity around 500 milliampere hours. So but I do trust in this case. There are nothing any direct argue, but this could be some kind of different depend on the actual mentioned capacity. So but is as average this battery is supposed to work as around this. Then I do not check the amperage of the LED panel. That I can be trace easily how much watt that is consuming. That could be I come to some rough estimate. That is actually according to chart, that is I can do estimate about the luminescence correction, but I do not about the luminescence monitoring in a professional environment. If I can manage to access some if I do manage to access a spectrometer, that could be much higher level of fun. We can test the lights using of spectrometers like this to some kind of level of much more accurate ratings for even LED light. So however I don't the lighting and color specialist, so then I can basically calculate assume these figures. So then my conclusion for these type of solar lamps, so that is my conclusion is very kind of complicated for just say as a single sentence. So because the conclusion is I have a few stages of conclusion. So then the first stage, if you plan to keep this quality as same as this, because the cheap product can be attract for many number of sales, and then the product is going to the high end. I do mean about the quality high end, not just the branding high end, and then the cut off the right to repairabilities before that any levels. So this product can be improved. There are minor cons, they can be improved. Then you can improve the product to next level, that is could be high-end version of this. Before the high-end version of this lamp, you can improve this lamp very simply. What are the simple possible scenarios? They claim this have water resistance, they can at least touch some basic IP ratings. I do not going to mention the IP ratings, but they can follow the IP rating guidelines. At least I don't know about IP ratings give a certification or not, but even that is not relevant for this case. That is completely irrelevant, because even IP rating is give a certification or not, but just they can follow the IP rating standards, because these lamps exposed to some high weather conditions and extreme sunlights and maybe high temperature near roof areas. So there might be even extreme rains and snow conditions, and then that's impact on very negative Celsius, not the exceed my never be exceed some critical condition, but could be happen with the depend on your locations. So that definitely you can improve this product by increasing the waterproof standards, and then the electronic side, and then could be product design. More than the product designing, you can focus on mainly standards. Then it's a few cost away for the improve this product. What are these improvements? If you plan to keep this as a two pieces, which means you don't have any separate compartment for the battery storage. So battery with the light. If the light section is light, can be generated some thermal heat. So then the battery, you couldn't increase the battery capacity as it is, because if you can increase the batteries they need to some breathing space. So then batteries could be little bit temperature, and this all the components in single box. Any battery short, you destroy the whole product. So then the next stage as improve just as this product. Now the high-end version of this product, you can add some additional components for the batteries and then increase the capacity of this thing. Or maybe light is much more like some thick box, large box, like this is like just imagine less like a LCD TV, and then just like a CRT TV looking thing. That's a box, thick box with a massive number of batteries for increase the capacity. So then this can illuminate whole night, even at least 12 hours. That is can light in for 12 hours with the higher battery capacity, because battery can be easily degrading. Every day is turn on, turn off, charging, and then if the battery capacity is getting increased, you need some large solar panel for charge this for any optimal C rating, because I do not want to degrade this C rating. That is lead to some complicated things, because increasing the battery capacity, you need a better charging. Otherwise this battery capacity is useless, because you tiny bit of charging and useless amount of capacity. That's the additional cost. Then this can easily, as not going to the level 2 of this stage, if you jump into next stage is some premium level of it can be advanced premium. If you keep this as but the battery increasing is advanced premium. So if you keep planning to keep this, increase the water resistance. That's not, I do not mention the change the materials in this stage, but I do not about much about the materials, how to use this material, any advanced material for these lights. But I can recommend one thing. They have buttons, so power inputs. Then everything's we have some additional. This enclosure can be exposed to the out weather conditions, because they have socket. The socket and the power buttons and the sensor spacing and sensor. Imagine, remember our test about the similar kind of but all-in-one light exposed to the mid-range of sunlight for the 4 years. That is getting the cracked plastic of the sensor cover. The sensor cover plastic is getting cracked, and also that has some green color, some like looking oxidation or something. Also that sensor need to pretty clean without any, you don't need to touch that. They never touch that sensor cover. So that sensor lid is also help you the sensor to, I think, get the sensing, increase the sensitivity. So that sensor cover also can be improved. I don't know about the high-end improvements, but could be improved. The switches you can use some switches switcher covers support to water resistance. That is a kind of advanced things. It might be a strong plastic material that could be kind of with the additional sealing, some seal gas cards, then they add the strong plastic material. So that's could be some high-end of some kind of high-end of sealing, the seal the spaces. Then you can do many things with this type of improvements. So imagine your floodlights, known as in general terms, that is flashlights, floodlights, anything exposed to the weather conditions. So I can show some images like this of a floodlight. It's the standalone product, and they have strong gas cut to the main power input. So then you can find that is a much more external thing that you can improve this product to the light is super enclosure, and then the permanent wire goes into the light, and this light is might be then aluminium based material. Then the wire is a coated wire, so then they come out to some another box for the batteries. That is improve this thing. This box can be hide in any secure place. So then you have solar panel. Solar panel need to be additional. This solar panel have some techniques. There are some complicated techniques. Any some type of laminated versions, and then you can use some aluminium surfaces to protect the plastic there in question. So then those are some kind of basic recommendations. So harsh weather conditions and different weather. So those are improved faced to different weather conditions. Then if you increase the batteries, they need to do some charging improvements. The solar panel could be large. That could be led to another different model number. But even this keep as this for this lamp for illuminating, they need the battery capacity increasing. So that is a better to increase the battery capacity, the internal electronic components, then the water resistant improvement, and the battery capacity increase if can they increase the battery capacity without extremely large solar panel. So then we have some internal electronic components. As I told this, you can increase the soldering joints of this PCB. You can install easily some connectors, so the wire connections, internal connectors. Then we can jump to the chip. That is a all-in-one chip. That is kind of risky deal to the as a all-in-one chip, because that is a risky deal because that is act as a BMS. According to my knowledge and my diagram of the inside of this, that is a mainly act as a BMS also than the lighting switching any kind of function. That is because as I told, that is a separate chip for handling those IR sensors, because this is act as a same chip. That is might be more than 3 tasks in one chip. If the chip is perfectly and expensively designed, that's mysterious chip can be high end. That is, we can easily get turned into the high end chip. I don't say no, because a mobile phone chip inside a mobile phone, anything. Imagine such small chips for do any high end task. But you can do the same thing as this chip. But this is looking like some cheapy, creepy chip to do many tasks, power handling and sensitivity handling. If getting the jams, as I previously told, anything jammed, that could be a disaster with the lithium-ion battery. Then the lithium-ion battery is fire inside your light. So then the repairable device. This is a kind of confusing with only with this chip. Many years later, you can replace the chip because you don't know the exact number of this chip. What is the number of this chip? We don't know. If you don't know about the number of the chip, you can replace as a service. If your battery is drained after a lot of duration, long period of time, then you can replace the chip also as a maintenance. That is quite good. So then with this solar panel system, if you crack these plastics, you can kick off this thing because we can just scrap the LED panel. Circuit board is some kind of useless, and then the solar panel, we can, if the solar panel preserve as in good quality, you can get that too. Otherwise, better to design your own lighting system with the motions. Even you can find a motion sensor modular motion sensor. Then if you find just a motion sensor, that's a previous diagram, you can build that diagram. That is a great deal. Then you have separate battery pack. Then you have separate solar panel. Might be a little bit increased, a little bit in large in size, but it's a decent solar panel and decent battery pack. Just that is just enough for increase some premium quality turn.